Hello and welcome to Super Taco Crew. We'll be continuing where we left off, which I believe is after Edgar had the discussion with Mary Hamilton about what to do about the box because after James had this little moment where he basically told Edgar that he liked him and Edgar decided to kiss him, they were chased down by a gunman. So, yay! So he decided to speak to Mary Hamilton, try to see how he could get them off his back or, get them to stop. And I'm pretty sure that even just trying to give them the chip would probably not end well for Edgar. And probably James by association. So, Mary decided, or suggested, that Edgar break into these people's, I guess, main building, the headquarters, and steal some information, which would help Mary blackmail them. Given that these people are, murderers, the likelihood of this going well is very unlikely, so yeah. Anywho, so Edgar, in his very smartness, decided to recruit Oscar and Max in order to help him break in and steal the information, so we're about to see how that's gonna, go. But yeah, well, without further ado, let us begin chapter 6, I believe. Oscar tapped his fingers on the steering wheel to the beat of his music. Edgar looked solemnly out the window, and Max was in the back seat with his laptop computer. Oscar lowered the volume. All right, we're almost there. They pulled up into a dark parking lot, surrounded by what seemed like abandoned buildings. So, what's the plan? I'm going in, and if you see anything suspicious, you take off. Don't wait for me. Got it. Be safe in there. Wait, don't forget these. Max handed Edgar a small widget and an earpiece. This one is what you plug into the computer, and this one is so that we can contact you if we need to talk. Edgar took a deep breath and put the earpiece in his ear. All right, sounds good. Then I'll see you guys later, alright? Max adjusted his own earpiece. See ya. See you later. Edgar took another breath before opening the car door and closing it softly. He walked until he reached the end of the street. From here, it was lots of trees, and beyond was Blackstar. He heard Max in his ears. Edgar, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, good. As Edgar walked into the trees, he dug through his pack and pulled out his mask, putting it on. After some time, he came across a wall with a laser fence. Wow, the outer wall is much taller than I expected, and it's protected by electrical wires. I think from the public map pictures, there's a guardhouse in front. Maybe you could sneak through there? I will try to climb the fence. I think I'm gonna try the fence. Alright, careful. He looked around on the ground until he found a thick branch. Perfect. With the branch, he returned to the fence. He jumped up, latching onto the wall. Then he carefully propped the wire with a stick, creating a small space between the wire and the top of the wall. Slowly, he pulled himself up into the hole. Don't touch, don't touch. He started sweating as he slowly passed his body through. There was maybe an inch of space above him. Once most of his body was shoved through, he let himself drop onto the other side and made a final lunge forward, landing with his hands. As he did so, he accidentally kicked the branch away. That was a close one. Guess I'm not coming back out this way. Edgar dusted himself off, looking towards the facility again. It looked almost like an ordinary office building, but somehow lifeless and sinister. He treaded onwards. He briefly wondered what James was doing, maybe just watching a movie by now. Edgar smiled to himself. He didn't see any patrols around. Maybe it was safe after all. No one seems to be guarding the outer building. Be careful though. He approached what looked like the main building, his feet hitting the smooth concrete. He ducked behind a concrete slab, eyeing the black door. Just ahead, there was a camera directly above it. Edgar skulked in the shadows, making sure to move slowly. He hugged the wall and shuffled under the camera so that it couldn't see him. Then he took out his trusty searing knife and stabbed the door. He very slowly made a circle under the door so that the door open sensors wouldn't go off. Once the hole was complete, he pushed in the solid mass and slid inside. He stood at the end of the hallway, with closed doors lining the halls. The walls were almost speechless. At the end, he saw an elevator and a robotic guard. Alright, I'm in. Okay, find a computer. Edgar looked in the office and saw a neat and unused-looking computer with a desk. He opened the door carefully. Okay, there's one here. Plug me in. Edgar did as he was told and plugged in the widget into the computer. Let me check it out. Edgar heard Max typing from his end. Edgar breathed in, feeling anxious as he sat in the eerily quiet office. After what seemed like an eternity, Max responded. No luck. This network seems like it's barely used. What do you mean? There's no way that this is the extent of their files. There's gotta be a second network hidden somewhere. You think it's in here? I don't know. Edgar thought. Well, if it's here, it'll be the most guarded place. Meaning... Edgar exited the office carefully, eyeing the guard in front of the elevator. He noticed a statue of a hyena with his fist in the air. There's a robotic guard by the elevator, so it's gotta be there. Alright, but be careful. Those robots can tear you in half. Okay. I'm gonna need something small. Edgar went by the office and grabbed a pencil off the desk. He snuck back and threw the pencil to the other side of the hall, the clinks and clanks echoing throughout the quiet atmosphere. The robot reacted instantly and started walking in that direction. Edgar quickly moved behind a pillar, staying out of sight. He ran towards the elevator and pressed the button. The robot continued, stopping and staring at the pencil. Edgar heard the elevator motors going. Come on. Come on. After a few seconds, the elevator doors opened. He ran in and spotted the close button, pressing it quickly. As the doors closed, he saw the robot begin to turn. He quickly hid behind the button panel. Quick, Max. This elevator has a keycard. How do I get it moving? He heard the robot start walking again outside. Max! Sorry. Just looking this up real quick. Okay, put your phone up to the panel and call me. Edgar did as he was told and dialed Max. Max picked it up and Edgar heard a few dial tones. Suddenly the lights turned green. Okay, go. Panicked, Edgar looked up and hit the lowest button that he could. B20. The elevator started its descent downward. Okay, it's going. Max, how did you know what to do? Well, those keycards aren't really secure. They can be tricked. Max? Max, I can't hear you. As the elevator went down, Max completely cut off. The elevator read, XX. There was no floors between the ground and B20. Max? Max? There was no response. Just breathe. He breathed in and out, trying to remain calm. The elevator continued its slow descent, seemingly for an eternity. Finally, it stopped. The doors opened. Edgar peeked outside. In front of him was a hallway. It looked completely different from the upstairs. The walls were made of concrete and the place looked old and moldy. The air was stale and old. He snuck out and ducked as he saw someone through the window. There was a Drake in a lab coat on a computer. So this is the real Blackstar. Max, can you hear me? Edgar only heard a distant whirling. Damn it. I guess I'm on my own now. He snuck forward and suddenly heard one of the doors open. Quickly, he darted behind a few stacked boxes. I don't understand why you don't have the prototype working. What else could you possibly need? It's just, some of the functionality is hard to understand. It's a black box. If I had the original... Well, we don't have it. Just fix it. I expect results. Yes, Virion. Edgar's ears perked up. Virion. I knew I recognized that voice. We will have the original soon enough, but we need to add our own code to it anyway, so keep going. Yes, sir. Varian walked away towards the elevator. The scientist went back to the room, the door automatically closing behind him. He's talking about the chip, right? No way he's gonna get it. Sensing no one else, he darted towards the end of the hallway and turned. At the end was a cargo elevator. How deep does this place go? He went onto the elevator, pressing the button to go down. The elevator began moving in a diagonal descent. Edgar looked around nervously, but nobody was there. The elevator slowly moved down until it halted and the front gate unlocked. He walked into a hallway identical to the top floor until he hit a fork. He looked into the left hallway. There were robots like the ones from before, standing silently. Looking at the other halls, he could see more robots. Damn it. He looked behind him and saw a dark room he passed. He checked the door. It was unlocked and stepped inside. It looked like a computer lab, like the one upstairs. He approached one of the computers and pressed a few keys. It greeted him with a login screen. He looked around the office and saw some sticky notes on the pinboard. One of them read John and read Frito Pie 29. You don't think... He tried the combination on the computer and it logged him in. People really suck at security. He clicked around the computer but didn't see any interesting files. He opened up the browser and clicked on the email. It said "Welcome John" and showed unread emails. I kind of think that the most pertinent one is this one, but this also looks interesting. Let's try this one. From Rose. Hey John, as I was leaving work yesterday, my car was attacked by some crazy out-of-whack prototype. I have no idea why, but it started shooting at my car and blew out my tires. I was so scared. I don't know who to contact about getting my car fixed. If I didn't have to pay my mortgage, I wouldn't be here. I need a new job. Ugh. Wow, the lengths people will go for their fancy houses. What about this one? Nominal stats. Power, 0.02 kilotons. Operation time, 84 hours. Orbital satellites, operational. These are the targets. Defenses are yet to be tested, but uses ultra-high-grade Duranium? Is this the weapon Mary was talking about? Unforeseen setbacks? From Richard. Unfortunately, it appears that our shipping partners have mislabeled the prototype Ham-1 neural engine. While we resolve the situation, please continue operations on the BLCP-1 engine based on the rough schematics. Thank you. Shipping partners? More like criminals. That brings to mind James. From Juliet. Reminder that Margaret's birthday party is coming up. We will be having peach cobbler, as that is her favorite. Please everyone chip in so that we can have a good cake. And don't be greedy, last year not everyone got a slice of cake. Peach cobbler? Ugh, tres leches are bust. I agree. Overtime. From HR. There have been a few requests for overtime pay. We need to remind you that you are salaried and compensated according to market rates. There is no overtime pay. If you have any more concerns, feel free to reach out to me. My door is always open, by appointment only. Jeez, even working for an evil corporation has an HR department? How sadistic. I guess that's it. Edgar closed the email client. All right, the receiver. Edgar took the small widget out of his pocket. I'm not sure if this will even work since I'm so deep underground. But there's no going back now. Edgar inserted it into the computer. Nothing appeared to happen, but the light on it turned green. Maybe there's something else in here that I can find? But those guards are in the way. He looked around the room, seeing if he saw anything useful. Then he looked up at the vents. Nothing like a good old-fashioned vent. He stood at the table, reached up and removed the vent cover. He jumped inside and pulled himself up, easily fitting in the oversized vent. It's pretty narrow. He crawled forward and decided to turn left. The wind was blowing against him. There was only one way forward, but the vent seemed to veer sharply right at the end. As he passed through the grating, he saw the robots from before, standing there. He gulped and very quietly moved past the spot. He went for a while longer, finally coming to a dead end. Through the grating, he saw a large room with machinery, but no one seemed to be inside. Wonder what this place is? He heard nothing other than the airflow and the whirling of a computer fans. Very carefully, Edgar pushed the grating and jumped down onto the ground. He let himself down. Whoa! The room was massive. The ceiling stretched far beyond what the light reached. There were computer monitors showcasing all kinds of live data, though Edgar couldn't read them. In the center of the room was a large enclosure, and Edgar thought that he saw a shape. He got closer. Is this? It looked like a dragonkin, but made of shiny metallic skin and armor. It looked powerful and sported large fins that looked like wings. Its eyes were closed and it was motionless. This guy's even bigger than Ari. Edgar had never feared machines. He felt like he could always outsmart them. But this one felt different. It didn't feel like an ordinary machine. Is this the weapon? There was no response except the light electrical hums coming from the machinery. If this weapon exists already, why do they need a chip? Mary said that the chip was an AI, so is this the host? Edgar paced around. Could I destroy it now? Then they wouldn't have the weapon anymore. But it's too risky. Surely some alarm would get triggered and I'd be toast. Edgar sighed. Well, as long as they don't have the AI, I guess this thing isn't gonna do anything anytime soon. Edgar still wasn't sure what Firon was planning to do, but given that much power to a man like this, he felt a shiver run down his spine. Edgar looked around the room, but nothing else stood out to him. I guess there's nothing else for me here. He went back up the vent and turned around to get one last look. The big drake stood in the same place, unmoving. Somehow, I feel like deja vu. He shook his head. Nah, I'm going crazy. He turned around and continued back down the vent. He continued back down the vents until he got to the room that he was before. He dropped down and checked on the computer. Nothing was different. Damn, I wonder if Max was able to get access. If he wasn't, then... Edgar sighed. Hopefully this wasn't a giant waste of time. But there was nothing else that he could do now. His only job was to escape and regroup. He snuck back outside the room. Edgar stepped outside and froze. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Between Edgar and the elevator stood Furion with 4 robots behind him. On the other side, 4 more robots completely blocked the hall. Did you really think that you could get away with this? The androids stood mostly still, their gizmos balancing and their guns pointed at Edgar. Edgar raised his hands in the air. So, you think you could just come in here and steal our research? Mary must be getting desperate if she sent you here. Edgar gulped. He looked around him, trying to find a way out. Don't bother. There's no escaping this. What is she after? She's already taken what rightfully belongs to me. It was you, right? Who stole it in the first place? Edgar stayed quiet. Well, answer me. You're not going anywhere anytime soon. I didn't steal it for her. Don't bother lying. I know you've been in contact with her. Now tell me what she wants. She said that you're going to do something terrible with her dad's chip. Biron let out air through his nose in a sneer. Please, her dad's chip? My corporation paid for that chip, and her father failed to deliver it. It rightfully belongs to me. But he didn't know that you would use it for a weapon. He didn't want it to be used that way. What difference does it make? That's where the world is headed, whether you like it or not. It doesn't have to be that way. I don't need to justify myself to a mere puppet like you. The world is a grand stage, and there are actors who matter, and mere puppets. If you want to be taken seriously, the only thing that matters is power. But what are you gonna do with that much power? Who needs that power to destroy literally everything? Furion smirked. It's not the destruction that matters, it's the threat of destruction. Big difference. Once I have that power, I can use it to shape the world at my will. But why do you get to decide? What about the rest of us? Why do you matter? You have nothing, no power. You can do nothing to stop me. It's just the nature of reality. That's not true. No, that's wrong. We can fight and resist. Such blind optimism. I envy you, in a way. Anyways, I have no more time for this. What's more, soon I will no longer need the doctor's AI anyway. Guess your death will be for nothing. Tragic, really. So much you could have done with your life, but you chose to waste it like this. Edgar started breathing fast. He couldn't believe it. Furion stepped backwards, behind the androids, and turned around. Eliminate the intruder. One of the androids stepped forward and took aim at Edgar. Edgar closed his eyes and braced himself, feeling himself tremble. He felt tears well in his eyes. Only one thing came to mind. James. For a second, he was back there, in the misty tower, feeling James next to him. The best feeling in the world. He wished nothing more than to hold him again. The gun on the android whirled up. Suddenly there was a loud blast, shaking his entire body. He breathed and opened his eyes. The robot that had had his gun pointed at him had his arm torn off, with another robot pointing its gun at it. What? What is this? The android whirled up its Gatling gun, firing dozens of bullets into the other android, until it collapsed. Then it turned, firing upon another android. It kept turning, firing a hail of bullets into all of the other androids. Furion ran backwards. Stay back! Edgar saw his chance. He ran behind the firing android towards the elevator. You're not getting away! Furion reached for him, Edgar trying to slip past. But he couldn't. Furion grabbed him by the leg and held him upside down. Instinctively, with his other leg, Edgar kicked him right in the snout, and Furion doubled over and let go. Yeah! Quickly, Edgar got up and ran towards the cargo elevator. He jumped over the railing and hit the button. As the elevator began moving up diagonally, a spread of bullets hit around him. He ducked and looked around. Furion was still on the ground and the other robots were fighting. Edgar breathed in and out. Max, you bastard. I don't know how you did it. The elevator went up, the ambience returning to eerie silence. Finally, the elevator reached the top, and Edgar ran into the hall. As he turned the corner, he regretted his decision and hid back. At the end of the hallway, blocking the elevator, were two more robots with their guns ready. Damn it, what do I do? He heard the cargo elevator start up from the other end. Furion had recovered. I only get one shot. Just one. He took out a searing knife and ran into the hall. Everything turned slow. The robots started firing, the shell casings clinking on the floor. Edgar ran into the right, the robots firing right where he had been a split second before. He kicked off the wall onto the crates and jumped and rolled forward. Sliding down under the robots, he slashed through the first robot. They were too slow to turn around. Edgar sliced and diced, carving a giant X, the knife easily ripping in through the metallic monoliths. The robots stopped firing and fell over, their circuitry completely ruined. Edgar breathed in and out rapidly. He turned around and pressed the elevator button. He opened up and ran inside and pressed the button. As the doors closed, he saw a glimpse of Furion walking quickly down the hallway, looking enraged. You're not getting away, you little fox demon! The doors closed and Edgar felt himself going up. There was only the grinding of gears. Edgar was still trying to catch his breath, the adrenaline shooting through him. Suddenly, the elevator stopped and the lights went off. Of course. He panicked, not sure what to do. Edgar felt around, the elevator almost pitch black. He looked up, and then there was a small light leaking through. A ceiling! He jumped onto the handrail and grabbed onto the latch. Edgar pulled on the handle, releasing the door. He pulled it down and opened it. He jumped up and pulled his body up, and stood at the top of the elevator. He couldn't see much above or below him. The shaft extended into blackness. Damn it, I gotta get out. He felt his heart start to race, and he breathed, trying to slow it. He thought for a second. Edgar fell down his pockets and grabbed a rope with the hook end he had with him. It wasn't very long. Please don't screw me over. He rubbed his hands and grabbed onto the threaded cable. Okay, I think I saw this in a movie once. He reached for his searing knife, switching it on, but it didn't light up. Ugh, not now. He cursed under his breath and started trying to cut into the rope by rubbing the knife back and forth. The string slowly started coming apart, and he heard the rope start to tear under the elevator's weight. All of a sudden, it snapped, and Edgar felt his feet leave solid ground. The elevator sped downwards into the black nothingness, and Edgar was sent flying upwards, holding on dearly to the cable. He saw the floors rushing past him faster and faster. The elevator crashed beneath him, but momentum kept him going up. As he slowed, he threw his hooked rope up. His heart jumped onto his throat as he flew. The hook caught a small ridge, and Edgar landed against the wall. Behind him, he heard the rope unwind and fall back down into the abyss. He held on with all his strength, his body fighting to keep him alive. Slowly but surely, he pulled himself up and finally was able to place his feet on a tiny platform. Just breathe. Breathe. He looked up and noticed that the door was visible from where he was, maybe 2 floors above. He undid the hook and pulled it back, his feet carefully keeping him on 3 inches of ledge. Careful not to lose his balance, he threw it up in the air. Miss. Damn it, I don't practice this enough. He pulled it back up and threw it. This time it hooked onto something. Edgar pulled to make sure that it was taut and started climbing up again, slowly. Finally, he made it to the door, grabbing onto the ledge and pulling up. He breathed in and out heavily. I gotta work out more too. Edgar? That you? Max? You can hear me? Yeah, I lost contact, but are you okay? Yeah, I'm almost out. The whole place knows I'm here, so we gotta bail. Alright, we'll be ready. He pulled the doors open, slowly but surely, until there was an opening big enough for him. He knew there was a robot waiting, but there was no time. Taking a deep breath, he sprinted across the main hall. Sure enough, the robot turned and started its Gatling gun, but it just hit the pillars behind Edgar. He ducked and covered, feeling the pieces of debris hitting his back. He ran outside through the door he came in, not caring about setting off any more alarms. He sprinted towards the entrance, not daring to look back. As he ran past, he triggered a sensor that sounded a local alarm. The robot lit up, but had no chance to react as Edgar ran into the trees. Just a little further. He finally made it back to Oscar's car. What took you so long? Edgar, you finally made it. Yeah, let's get out of here. On it. Edgar slammed on the accelerator, burning out and driving off. Were you able to access anything? Yeah, I got a ton of data, although it will take some time to sort it out. I don't know if it's anything useful yet. Well, at least we got something. Yeah, I can send it to Mary if you'd like, and I can start looking through it too. Yeah, that'll be great. Thanks for helping. Oh, and thanks for saving me back there, by the way. Saving you? What do you mean? You know, when you took control of those robots? I don't know what you mean. I was just looking for files. I didn't take control of any robots. You didn't? Then... Edgar leaned back in his seat. He racked his brains, but came up blank. Oscar shrugged. Maybe it malfunctioned? Yeah, maybe. Edgar stared out the window, the dark buildings passing him by. Hey, James, I'm home. Edgar was so tired that he just wanted nothing more than to cuddle up next to James. James? He walked to the bedroom. Edgar recoiled. Someone was standing in the corner of the room with a gun pointed at Edgar. Sit down. We have much to discuss. Where's James? If you comply, He will be perfectly fine. Who are you? I am no one, but I suppose you can call me Nikolai. Chapter 7, Truncated. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Ooh, things did not go as planned, I suppose. They were able to get the information that I guess Mary needed, or at least some information. Whether or not it's useful is still, to be seen. The assassin that was trying to kill Edgar and James before apparently, found where they lived, and I'm assuming kidnapped James. Or, well, yeah, he's probably kidnapped James. Hopefully the wolf is alive and well. We'll have to see in the next, chapters. So basically, chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10 are left. So yeah, just so you guys know. This one is a little longer, but not as much as the first episode, but still. A lot of exciting things happened. Hopefully you liked it, and yeah, write down in the comments what you think. Is James alright? Is he dead? Is there gonna be a chance to save him or not? Is this guy working for, Furion, or is he working for someone else? Write down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Super Taco Crew yourself and find out what happens, then you can do so by going down into the link in the description for Decker the Wolf's Twitter page, which should have a direct link to his itch.io page where you can download or buy Super Taco Crew. And, it's only $5, and, you can do so and, find out what happens, or just at least support Decker the Wolf, unless you want to, commission him. If he's open. I don't know if he is. But yeah. And also, I have a coffee in case, you want to donate to me, if you feel so inclined. It's not necessary, but, it helps. Trust me, especially right now, it helps. Literally, even $2 helps. But yeah, anyways, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next chapter. Bye-bye.